The Finalmouse ULX has received a lot of flack since its release. There have been a lot of changes since the release as well though. This will be a review of the ULX Aceu Tiger Edition, which is the largest model that they make. Finalmouse also announced another new mouse coming on October 8th, so I am super interested to see what that's all about, but let's dive a little bit deeper into this mouse. The ULX Tiger features a symmetrical shape designed for larger hands. This shape is particularly suitable for palm and claw grips, providing a comfortable and secure hold when gaming. You could fingertip this too with larger hands, but I don't think it's the optimal grip choice. It's been a while since I purchased a Finalmouse, the most recent being the Air 58 in 2018. When picking which size I wanted for the ULX, I knew that I didn't want to fingertip the mouse, and my 19x11 hands were probably going to struggle to claw the medium, so I went with the large, and I'm so glad that I did. Even though this is a more center humped mouse, for the way that I grip it, it feels so comfortable in hand. The shape actually fills the ball of my palm very nicely, but the top does lack contact, which I honestly don't mind at all. If you've used the Air 58, this definitely isn't a one-to-one clone, but is much more refined and allows for better micro adjustments and control than the Air 58 did in my opinion. I definitely prefer the Tiger shape over the Air 58. Weighing in at 42 grams on my scale with skates, the ULX Aceu Tiger Edition is incredibly lightweight for its size. When using this thing, it does feel like the mouse is just an extension of my arm. I am someone who prefers lighter weight mice, so for a mouse this size, being in the 40-gram range is truly a beautiful experience. The weight balancing is pretty flawless as well. The mouse is slightly front heavy, but that's just nitpicking. It's not something that you're going to notice in game, and it's so minor. If you are a low sense player who wants a lightweight, larger size mouse for claw or palm grip, I think the Tiger does that perfectly. Next, we can cover the clicks and side buttons. The switches this mouse is using for the main clicks are Huano Blue Shell pink dots. These are a much needed improvement from the original ULX copies that had Omron opticals. I feel like it's widely known that with Finalmouse, it's always better to wait and purchase a copy from the second batch, as that is when they make the well-needed improvement. The clicks have absolutely no pre-travel and a tiny bit of post-travel, but nothing that I noticed in game. Definitely an improvement from what I saw on the original batches. There is a tiny bit of side-to-side wobble, but my copy has no grinding, and the side wobble is also something that I didn't notice while gaming. Overall, these clicks felt very tactile and lightweight, which feels great in TAC FPS like Valorant. It is kind of like playing the lottery though with Finalmouse, so I'm sure there is still a chance of issues with the clicks on newer copies as well. The side buttons haven't changed from previous years of Finalmouse. They are placed perfectly and provide a very tactile experience. I have pretty much no pre-travel and barely any post-travel. These are easily one of my favorite side button implementations on any mouse. I'll also just quickly mention the scroll wheel as well. This thing has a plastic scroll wheel. The steps are pretty defined, and I know Finalmouse is going for the lowest weight possible, but I really think a rubber band on the scroll wheel, like they had on the Air 58, would be an amazing touch that would add to the aesthetics a lot, as well as add a little bit more grip than what the plastic currently provides. We can quickly talk about the coating, and then I'll get into the controversial build quality. The coating on this mouse is good, but it's by no means a rubberized coating that you would feel on something like the GPX or the Viper V3 Pro. They are calling it the Soft Touch Pro Grip coating, and I do think it feels okay, but this is definitely not my preferred coating at all, especially with the honeycomb design. As someone with sweaty hands, I find that the sides do get slippery at times. They do provide grips with the mouse, but I didn't feel that it ever got so bad that these were necessary. There have been major complaints about the yellowing on the Pro Series mice though. First on the Tarek, which people reported yellowing on, and then the Aceu came out and it was on a whole nother level. There are pictures floating around on Reddit of people's mice looking legitimately brown. I would say this is from people not washing their hands, etc., but I wash my hands very frequently when gaming, and I did have a little bit of yellowing on my copy after about a month of use. It is pretty easily mitigated with an alcohol wipe, but even after wiping it down, there is still some yellowing remaining, and at the end of the day, for a $200 mouse, you would think this issue wouldn't be this bad. As far as the build quality goes, this thing definitely does not pass the stubby test. When squeezing the sides, I do feel some flexing and creaking, especially towards the front. Like up here, there's a ton of flexing and creaking. There is also creaking and flexing on the back of the shell right here. It just doesn't feel very structurally sound in these areas. It's not something that I feel in game, but I know some people might be really bothered by that, again, for the price. My biggest complaint about build quality is the panel gap on my copy, and I did see a few other people on Twitter complaining about this, so I know it's a known issue. Basically right here on the side, you can see that when pushing down, like the top shell of my mouse is literally touching the side button. It does it on the other side too, and it makes like a squeezing, like squishy sound on this side. It's just not something that should be occurring for a mouse at this price. I did watch Boardsy's video, and his copies didn't have this issue, but I do know there's other people out there that are having this issue as well. Overall, there is room for improvement on the QC you see of this mouse, but from where I grip it, none of these issues have really affected me. I just wanted to be as transparent as possible and make sure people do know that these issues exist. Next, we can cover the sensor performance. Equipped with the PixArt 3395 sensor, the sensor performance is pretty solid. I do prefer Razer's 3950 implementation, but I think that kind of goes without saying. With a blind eye, I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference. I found a link for a firmware that allowed me to unlock the 8K hertz, and for a beta, it feels completely flawless. I'll put that link in the description so you guys can try it out for yourselves. I had no stutters or interference at all on any polling rate when testing this. I'll pull up on screen the sensor latency results from Rtings. Not that that tells most of us anything, but I know some of y'all out there might care. Overall, even though this isn't the latest sensor anymore, it still holds its weight performance-wise, and I don't really have any complaint. The battery life on my copy with 8K hertz is about 2 or 3 days. On 1K hertz though, this thing can easily last well over a week. The battery life is not the best I've experienced, but it's definitely not the worst either. And then lastly, the stock skates are PTFE. I didn't feel the need to change them, but I do currently have the Plasti X skates from TJ Exclusives on here. This was not a needed change though. There's definitely no need to swap out the stock skates. They really weren't bad at all. I can't say though that they were on the faster side, and they didn't provide very much texture on the pads that I used them with. In conclusion, the ULX has squeezed its way into my top 3 mice alongside the GPX Dex and the Viper V3 Pro. I know this mouse may not be for some of you guys out there, but the combination of a medium sense with a semi-controlled pad and a lightweight mouse is just bliss for the way I play Valorant. The shape also fits my hand great for a relaxed claw, which is my preferred grip and what I find myself aiming best on. Make sure y'all subscribe and stay tuned to see what this October 8th drop is about from Finalmouse. I will talk to y'all in the next one. Peace.